What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Cobble Chaos. So today we're in the shop. It's been a bit. I rearranged a couple times, and now we got the final setup in here. But today is the weekend, and I like to have my weekends to do some fun stuff. And I don't know, I've got these other projects I'll be hitting hard Monday. But today we built a hot rod. So here she goes, and it's kind of just mocked up, but I think you'll want to stay tuned, see how we got from just a frame on the floor to this, and yeah, check it out. So this morning we started with a bare frame, and after a little bit of time we kind of have a hot rod in a makeshift way. So check out how this process was and what we did to get to where we're at. And it is cold out today, so I got the shop, we got a fire going. It's getting kind of warm in here. I think I'm up to a balmy 40 degrees. Anyway, it's been busy, but I rearranged the shop yet again, and I had to simplify. I had it so full of stuff that I couldn't move. Extension cords were hanging on stuff, and so I went through, I redid a bunch. I had stuff that just needed a part taken off here and there to just get rid of the clutter. So now I've got this to where I can work in here, and I think I'm ready to get gung-ho on it. So here's what I ended up doing. So for now, I pulled out the C10 and stuff. Camaro's still back here, but this was getting so cluttered full of stuff. I mean, I love having a bunch of junk, but I mean, I can only work on one at a time. So my main focus is getting this Le Mans in, like at least getting the firewall painted and stuff, so I can put in the big block sitting right here. I want to dump it in there. I just need to sand a little bit of mud, reprime, and then I can paint the firewall, start putting motors in it. This Willys is for a buddy of mine, and I need to get going on that so he can get his project back. So I'm just going to bang on those two through the week, and on the weekends I am going to work on this Model A, and it is the weekend. And I'm going to go ahead and set the body on this frame and kind of figure out where the motor and stuff's going to go, and get this thing kind of dialed in. But this is kind of a quick build, so it's like I can make this a roller in not too long. So I figured I'll get those done. And I'd love to get on the C10 and stuff, but it's so far away from being done. Same with the 56. Is like when I get on those, I'm trying to stay focused, C1 through, you know, and I mean, I'll bounce a little bit, but I'd really like to see these projects through. And when I bounce around so much, I got so much time and money, you know, going to all these different things, and nothing's happening. So I think right now this car is super close to being done, or done-ish, or at least going back together. Because again, every time I want to do something, like back here, I have hoods, doors, you know, I'm moving these parts around and stuff. It'd be really good to get these all painted and jammed, put on the car. And yeah, they're kind of burying the Camaro, which I need to get going on that. So I got plenty of cool stuff in here to do, but I just need to focus a little bit. So anyway, and I'd like to have this one going this spring. And like I say, these are like building a go-kart. Basically, if I set the body back on this, put an axle in it, put a rear end in it, slap a motor in, and there's not a whole lot to this thing. So I'm doing this to kind of relax. And it's like I say, things have been hectic with the winter and stuff and the cold and everything. So I'm going to do something that's fun, and I'm right by the wood stove, and I think it's a perfect project for at least today. So again, we'll do a little here, a little there, and we'll just kind of start getting some of this stuff wrapped up. But anyway, let's kind of figure out what we need to do with this thing. So I guess the first thing I need to do is probably try and get this body on this frame, and then figure out what engine I'm going to put in. I really would like to put the Hemi in there, but it depends on how much I want to drive this car. Like if I want to, you know, I want something reliable and, you know, something that I can fix fairly easily. But also I think the Hemi would be super cool, but I don't know, small block, big block, something. But first thing I'm going to do is put the body on the chassis and then do some more thinking. Well, that didn't go too bad. So we got her on the frame now. I stuck a couple bolts in it so it's lined up and everything. I don't know, I might just go ahead and throw the front axle in this thing. This is still all cracked out. I might throw a couple little welds in there just to kind of hold it together. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but in a way that would help me kind of determine where things are going to go. So, and that'll get it up and possibly make this thing roll around. So, I might jack it up, put that in there, and then the back, all I'd have to do is use my floor jack or something, and I can move this thing around the shop till I get to the rear end. But, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So this is my front drop axle I'm going to throw in here, and this is what I'm talking about on this cross member. This is all cracked and blown up, and just for mocking up it'll be fine. And I don't know if I'm going to use this cross member or do the suicide style where you run the tube in the front, do the spring perch off the front, and extend the nose out for a little more racy look. So I think at this point I'm going to mock it up like this, and then these brackets I could tack on here. I know I still got to set my camber and all that stuff, but I think I could at least roll it around then, and putting a motor in, it'd be nice just to have this there. And if I get part way putting the motor in and need to move it around, I can with this in here, as opposed to it being stuck on jack stands in the middle of my floor. Like I say, this one I'm trying to just kind of do on the side here and there, have fun with it, and yeah, so I think this will be kind of a quick, dirty way of making it movable, and then all I got to do is jack it up the back and roll it around. So I think for now, I'm just going to leave this way until I see where everything fits. And this lip's already been trimmed out. I may have to trim more or whatever, but we're just mocking up. So I'm going to throw this thing in, probably throw a couple tacks on here, and put some tires on it. This is absolutely more inspiring than I've done in a while. I don't know. This thing ain't even bolted in, but I'm just digging it. So I'm going to go ahead, bolt that down, jack up the back, kind of get this front end where it kind of needs to go, put a couple tacks in it, throw some tires on it, and yeah, let's see what we have. There we go. It's it's pretty sad when 100-year-old tires hold air better than most of the cars you drive daily. But yeah, these two oldies actually still hold air, and I'm gonna jack this up, slap them on the front of her. Alrighty, so I got some tires on there, and they're holding air, and yeah, I'm going to jack this up, kind of get it at my ride height. I'm just going to tack these in roughly at the angle I want and everything, and it'll be kind of half set up about what I need to for a good mock-up. So this is going quick. This is sometimes you need a little project like this. Like I say, there's a million other things I need to do, and I know I bounce, but sometimes these where just so much happens so fast. And I mean, this went from a frame, a body, and parts laying around to I almost have a car. And sometimes the guy needs a little boost like that, especially, like I say, things have been kind of hectic and I just need something to give me a little progress. So this is being absolutely a blast today, and yeah, I definitely have something to show for it. So I'm going to go ahead, jack this thing up, and just raise these up, kind of figure out my angle back here to get my right camber, cast, or whatever, and tack these up there. So I'm kind of roughly where I need to be, and then yeah, maybe we'll set a motor in this thing today. I don't know. Well, I am totally digging this thing. So I mocked it up a while back, but not really with the intent to put it together, just to kind of look at it. But now my frame rails are boxed and everything, and it's actually more serious. So I've got a good drop axle for the front. This nose will come down. That's a 4-inch drop axle, so it should drop down once I get some weight in it. I want the tire to just profile this line. I don't want it coming up over the top. I want kind of a taller jalopy style. And I don't know if I'm going to run these. There's another one of these Steelies here that I'd like to put like a 750 or something on the back. And again, kind of go old school. But yeah, so let me, I'm going to roll that tire up and just see what it looks like. Again, it's the same size as the front, so it's probably not going to look as cool, but let's see what the traditional style looks like. Definitely not as cool, but I do like it. And again, I think this could go down lower. I mean, we'll see what this front end sits with engine and stuff in it, and we'll play with the rear end and get a height on that. But I don't know. It's going to be something, and it's amazing what I could just swap wheels and tires on this thing and go from traditional hot rod to a hot rod to who knows what this thing will be. But it's absolutely a blast just playing around with this stuff right now. So I do think next thing I'm going to go ahead and just get these tacked in, and then I can jack this up and roll it around. I don't have an axle in here, obviously, so but I can at least slide it back, and maybe I'll drop a hemi in it. Maybe I'll drop a small block in. Maybe we'll just kind of look at a couple different options. Again, I'd love to run the hemi just because, you know, this screams it needs a hemi. And it's like, and I mean, other than, you know, maybe some distributor parts and a starter and whatever, it should be pretty reliable, really. So I may dump that in there, or maybe I'll just dump in a small block or something. I'm not real sure. I don't want to be mainstream as everybody else is, but there is something to be said about having reliability and simplicity, and you can still readily get small block parts. Hemi parts, on the other hand, are you're going to be waiting in whatever town you're stranded in. So anyway, I don't know. Let's mess around with this thing a little bit more. Alrighty, so I went ahead, I got these, I just kind of measured and just got everything kind of half square in here. Again, this is probably all going to get redone, but just for the sake of moving it around and being able to put a motor, I'd like to see how much this is going to squish down too. That Hemi weighs a ton, so it may be too much for these springs and stuff, I don't know, but I think I'm going to start with jamming that thing in here. So the only problem is, well, I got to move the Le Mans a little bit, but it is sitting under this shelf, and it is kind of a pain to get to, but that is it right there. So, and it's a 331 Hemi, and it's got all the stuff to go to a Saginaw 4-speed. I'd like to put maybe a T5 or something in there. This isn't a big horse motor. It's for as heavy as it is and stuff. I don't know. I think these are 200 horse, 280 horse, something like that. So yeah, but it should be plenty to move this hot rod around, and I'm doing it more for nostalgia. So if this is a pain to fit, maybe I'll dump in a small block or something, but I definitely want to give this a good try and just see what we end up with. So I guess I am going to dig this thing out and see what I get into to find this thing under here. So that's kind of my next step. Alrighty, so we got everything moved back around. I am about ready to set this thing in here, and this is a giant motor. I mean, it's definitely going to weigh a bit. So I don't know, but it's got a bunch of mouse crap on it, and yeah, pretty dusty. I'll probably get it all blown off, but no, we're minutes away from setting this in. And when I did it earlier, it's got just some kind of mounts on there, and I just had these little tubes I tacked on there, and it should sit pretty much where I had it before when I first tore this car apart. So we should be pretty close to having this thing in here. So a little backstory to this motor. When I was a kid, me and my dad were at a wrecking yard, and we were wandering around. They had a bunch of Model A stuff. This is back when, you know, you could find these old cars, and a lot of people didn't even care about them, you know, but there were fenders, hoods, all kinds of stuff. And we were wandering around through there, and we found a Hemi that was sitting there. It was under a hood of a car and just half buried in the ground, you know, and I wanted that. And I mean, I was young. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything, but I know I'd heard about Hemis, and, you know, and that was, you know, I wanted it pretty bad. But to have gotten it out of that junkyard, you'd have needed a helicopter. There was so much stuff that needed to be moved and cleaned out. I mean, I don't know. It would have taken weeks to even get to the thing. I mean, it was in the back corner. It had probably been there for who knows how long. So anyway, several years later, the same wrecking yard, they put a thing up on at that time it was Craigslist, you know, which is still around, but there was an ad on Craigslist for a 331 Hemi, and I don't know, my dad at the time had a 34 Ford pickup, and he was just kind of messing with it a little bit here and there, but we ended up going to that wrecking yard and picking this up, and it had become under new owners, and they had gone through and organized and cleaned everything up. They found this, they went through and rebuilt it, and again, it's all the stock. It's nothing hot rodded. I'm sure they, you know, got it running and, you know, put some new rings and bearings and everything in it, and I mean, it's not a performance anything, but it does run, or at least it used to. It's been sitting under a shelf in the shop here. Well, my dad had it for several years, and then when he passed, I ended up with it. And I've wanted to put it in something, and I mean, something like this is the perfect candidate. The 34 truck he had, I unfortunately got rid of it, and that was such a mistake on my part. To this day, I wish I still had that truck. But anyway, this has sat around. I have not had the heart to get rid of it, and I think this Model A is a perfect candidate to put it in there. So I do want to. I'll probably fire this thing up on the floor here in the next episode or two, and just make sure it runs. But I'm assuming, I mean, it still spins over and everything, and I'm assuming it should still hopefully run. It's been inside a shop and dry enclosed environment. So I don't think there's going to be really anything wrong with it. And maybe it'll have some seals that leak or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to throw this thing in here, and we're going to try it out. So right now, I'm going to jack this up, set it in there kind of like we had it before, and just see how things look. And I'm real curious how this spring and drop axle compresses, and we'll see what the height is. If it just crushes that spring, I don't know. I'll have to probably think of something else. But anyway, let's go ahead, jack this thing up, and slap it in here. Well, it is kind of sitting in there, and it did not compress that front spring too awful bad, so I'm kind of glad to see that. The chain, it's somewhat loose, or pretty much loose. There's really no weight on it. I do have a floor jack just under the bell housing of it, just to kind of hold it in place. It is to the very front of that cross member, so actually the radiator in the stock Model A is pretty much right there, if not a little bit behind it. So I want to, and I know I'm not going to be able to cram the radiator and keep everything original. It looks like most people shove that all forward just a little bit. So I am going to anyway, I think I'm going to cut, I think I can shove it in underneath the Model A gas tank, and I'm going to shove it back there and at least get the valve covers to the firewall, if not a little bit behind the firewall, and give myself some more room, because I don't like when the nose is like super long and exaggerated looking. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a chore to get this thing in here, but I think it's doable. And no, it's it's pretty cool. Let me see if I can get so yeah, I think that's going to make a hot rod for sure. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and remove what I can of this bottom portion of the firewall, and then we'll stuff it back in there and see how she sits then. So I think I'm going to get rid of this entire portion here and get it to where, you know, them heads come all the way out here. So I'll get it to where I can get all that crammed in there a little bit. And like I say, maybe an inch or two behind that, tucked in there. And then I'll build a new firewall. And again, I want to do it, you know, still keep it looking old school and stuff. I'll probably bead roll a couple little lines in it or something, you know. But yeah, that motor takes up this entire cowl. So it's we'll see what we can do with it. But right now I'm just going to get some clearance in there and get it sitting roughly where I want to go. Well, that opened it up a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna jack this thing back up, slide it in there and see. And I might be able to lower the motor down in the frame too. Like I say, everything's just kind of, we're just fitting and seeing where everything is gonna wind up happy. Well, we are definitely gaining. I think I'm gonna cut these little tubes I made a while back. I'm gonna cut them down. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut maybe about an inch off of those and lower this down a little bit and get the distributor to slide under a little bit more. And then I have under the dash here is this piece here, and it's running down and going right into the distributor. So if I get 1 or 2 more inches out of this, I'd be pretty happy. So it's definitely going to be getting crowded for foot pedals and stuff, but I don't know, we'll figure it out. So like I say, we're just mocking up. This may not happen. I don't know. I've seen them in there, and it's got a it's got to happen. But I know a lot of times you don't know the pains that people put up with to look cool. So anyway, I'm going to pull it out yet again and trim this little piece out here and cut these mounts right here down, and we'll give her another shot. Alrighty, well, I got those trimmed off, whatever that amount is, I don't know, inch and a half or so. And then, yeah, we cut out this this whole section under here, so that distributor should clear, the motor should be a little bit lower, and I think it's gonna fit a lot better, so I'm gonna stuff her back in. Well, it's in, and I think that's about as far back as I can go with it. I'm gonna get into the body mounts here and stuff, and it's going to open a big can of worms. And I mean, my distributor's underneath the fuel tank. I don't think I'm going to try and use this as a fuel tank. I got a kind of a crazy dash that I think I'm going to put in this, so this is probably going to get changed. But yeah, so there's really, I mean, it's funny, this Hemi, as big as it is, lengthwise from basically where the bell housing would be to the front, is about the same as like a small block Chevy or something. So it's about 28 inches from bell housing to the front of the motor there. So no matter really what, I mean, I think a guy's got to kick all this forward. I don't know how they're getting V8s in there and keeping a stock hood without doing some extending or having this thing completely underneath the firewall here. So I think at that point, that's where I'm going to be. This radiator will probably be, it's about 2.5, 3 inches ahead of where it normally would have been, which in turn may result in me kicking this front end forward to keep it proportioned. It does kind of have a, oops, my grinder. It does kind of have a stubby look to it, and I wouldn't mind just maybe a little bit more front kick to it just to proportion it out. So, but we're getting close, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I might raise it up just a hair because the bottom pulley here is basically about a 1/4 inch from sitting on these U-bolts. So yeah, I think I'll bring it up just so I got a little clearance. I can at least get a belt to fit between there. But we're definitely gaining, so I'm really glad to do this and mock this up and get a little bit more of a plan. I really cannot believe that it doesn't compress this spring more than I thought it would. So it's sitting a little higher than I want. But again, I'm probably going to put a little rake to the back. I'm pretty happy with it. It's sitting pretty level right now. So yeah, I don't know. We're just messing around, and we're gonna keep messing around. Alrighty, so I got the cherry picker out of here. This thing is just balancing. I didn't even tack it to the frame yet, but it's just kind of sitting in there. I got a chain wrapped down underneath the oil pan, and that's kind of its home. And now I can see inside of here some of the possible issues. So yeah, the floor here, this is where the original floor come up, and I actually have a bit more room than I thought. To get a 4-speed in here and run clutch and brake pedals may be a little bit of an issue. I don't know if I can mount them down under here, and they might fit in there all right. I'm not real sure yet. Steering, definitely an issue because we got a cylinder head right in the way here. I don't know if I can cram any kind of a box. I might have to go with the sprint car type steering or the F100 box and do the extended arm and run it out the cowl. So another thing with the interior here is I see a lot of them cut this package tray back. I'd like to keep some of this package tray at least, so but I could slide my seat back farther and sit in it farther if I had to, but I also have to make sure wherever my shifter comes out that I can actually reach it too. So there is a lot of little things. I mean, it looks like a car right now, but this might all be just a big pain in the butt. So I did look at an adapter to go to this motor to a Turbo 350, which would eliminate a pedal, which would make my life a whole lot easier. But I don't know, hot rods should be gear jamming, tire frying bad boys. So I'd like to keep a 4-speed in this, but we'll see. And like I say, I wouldn't mind a 5-speed in here too, to just be able to cruise it and not have the pipes just screaming everywhere we go. So I don't know, but I guess I ought to throw a milk crate or something in here and kind of see how I fit. So I think I'll do that. Well, I've got my milk crate, and we're gonna, I don't know if this is a correct seat height or if that's gonna work, but I'll get in here. And this will also add to the, oh, I'm definitely tall. Yeah, I'm way too tall for this. Actually, being up here like this, though, I got plenty of foot room, really. Yeah. I think I'm gonna fall through the floor. Yeah, that's gonna be super tight for clutch, brake, and a gas pedal. Gas pedal might possibly be on top of the bell housing here. And that's the thing, doing these little cars, like it seems like you got a lot of room in them, and then you get bell housings and big modern the transmission out of this thing is about 10 inches square, and this is definitely a lot bigger. So trying to package pedals and everything and be comfortable, it would definitely help to sit back, but I also want to be able to put my arm out. I don't want to be one of these guys, you know. So but I think it's doable though. An automatic would definitely give me a lot more room in here, so I don't know. And I think, yeah, I don't know if I was sitting lower how that would work too. I should put a piece of wood down in here, but I don't know, can you see my feet in here? Yeah. So gas on the distributor. Actually, I could probably just put a rod right off the carburetor and push it with my foot, and that's honestly not really a bad idea. I almost could do that. So yeah, you could sit like that, and then you got clutch and brake right down here. Huh. But if I sat any lower, my leg would be up. I'm sure I could see leg cramps. Leg cramp, full throttle drop. I can't let off. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that's what this is all about, mocking up and figuring these things out. So, and yeah, the transmission, the shift would be somewhere in here, I'd assume. So yeah, that would be, it's going to be a bit of a fit, but these cars are definitely not Cadillacs and they're definitely not comfortable. So you got to like the person you're with, and you got to like a lot of noise and a lot of rattles and a lot of goofy handling.
If you don't like them, it's easy to reach. You can kick them right out, open the door.
Oh yeah, just kick the door open, or eject them out the roof, or maybe out the floor. Yeah, but no, this is cool though. I definitely could.
Oh.
Let's see how it is now. I'm sitting on top of that piece. Yeah, that's not bad either. Yeah, that would be doable. And that's about the seat cushion height. That's about 4 inches off the actual frame. So yeah, that would work. Now it's almost like driving a Volkswagen. I kind of like the old straight shot to the carburetor with the throttle rod though. I think that might be something that might happen. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, you want to go for a ride? Well, after sitting in it, it's got more room than I thought it would. It's going to be a little bit weird when I do my pedals and everything, but I definitely think I'll cut this package tray back just a little bit. I think I can still stay where I was seated, but I want to be able to cut that back so I have room for the cushion in the seats and everything, and, you know, kind of make up that space. So, but yeah, I don't think it'll be as cramped as what I think it was going to be. And you can see where the transmission is. It's the top of the transmission bolts are here, and it comes straight out, and I could almost keep this original frame. The shifter would probably come out right in here somewhere. But yeah, so I think the next thing will be probably making some actual motor mounts for this thing. Getting that figured out. Like I say, right now these are just kind of some homemade little things that are just sitting on here. But getting the engine in, getting it set right, and then getting the transmission on it and getting a cross member built. And basically once that's in, it's a matter of building the car around it. So we'll figure it out, and whether I go automatic or manual. I think I can cram a manual in this, so I kind of want to. So yeah, but that's kind of the next step. Well, I got messing around a little bit before I go in for the night, and I just threw I got some big and little slotted mags that I was looking, and that's the kind of 60 vibe. That would give me the rake I want, and naturally it has my slotted mags. But some reason this car is telling me to run the Steelies and go with that kind of more traditional look and more of an old school build. So I don't know. Like I say, we're just messing around. Alrighty, well I've got an old steering column, and I think you'll see. Yeah, if we get rid of that thing. Look at that. Cadillac style. Caviar dreams and a Spam budget. Well, that was an absolutely fun day. I mean, to start with the frame sitting on the floor, and we've got pretty much the hot rod mocked up at what I want. I don't know that I'm going to run cheaters on this. Again, it'd be cool. I can mix and match wheels and tires, change the look of the car completely. But I'd like to run like a 750 or something on the rear, and I don't know, I think it's a 550 or something front. Big and little, the staggered. Give it a little more rake. Right now it's about level, but it's just sitting on jack stands. So we'll mess around with that as we add weight and everything, and then getting a rear end put in it and stuff. But yeah, it was a good day. I'm glad to be in the shop. I'm glad to take a little free time, do this thing. I say this week we'll be hammering on this Willys and the Le Mans. And but yeah, we're just throwing this in on the weekends to have a little fun. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get back on this thing and just turn this thing into a hot rod. So stay tuned. We got lots more coming up. It's going to be a busy week, and yeah, I got all week to be in here. So we're going to get some stuff done. So thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, the comments, and we'll see you later.